Here you see the statistics of two midfielders for their club and country. If I told you one of these players is Luka Modric, then would you say he's the right one or the left one? Most people would probably say he's the left one, but Modric is actually the right one, and the left one is Ivan Rakitić. Now, statistics only say so much, of course, surely for midfielders. But this statistic might have surprised some of you, so Ivan Rakitić might definitely be one of the most underrated players out there. Hey, it's Barça here, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing Sevilla player and Barcelona legend Ivan Rakitić, and why he doesn't get the recognition he actually deserves from the football world, and even from a lot of Barça fans. So make sure to stay tuned, because this one is gonna be interesting. First, let's take a look at how it all started and how Rakitić became Rakitić. 2005-2006 season was Rakitić's first professional season for Swiss club FC Basel. But it was only in the second season that he really made a name for himself at Basel, being one of their most important players at only 19 years of age. Of course, it wasn't going to last long before he would leave his club, and in 2007 he would do so and go to German club Schalke. There he would almost immediately become a crucial player in his first season. The second season, 2008-2009 season, was difficult for Schalke altogether, and Rakitić was on the bench way more often than before. But luckily, in his last 2 years for the German club, he would again be a key player, and in his last full season, they almost won the Bundesliga, finishing only 5 points behind Bayern Munich. He hadn't won a trophy at Schalke, but he had attracted the interest of some other European clubs, and in January 2011 he would complete his move to Sevilla. There again he would immediately become a crucial player, and in his first years he would always perform well, whether it be as a playmaker or as a defensive midfielder. In his last season he became the club's captain, and they also won the Europa League, which was his first and last trophy with Sevilla. In the final against Benfica, Rakitić got named man of the match in what would be his last game for the club, because that summer in 2014 he would make his big move to FC Barcelona for only 80 million euros. A promising signing before the start of Luis Enrique's first season as a Barcelona manager. That same summer, Luis Suarez and Marc-André ter Stegen were also signed, so this seemed to be becoming a new era for the Blaugrana. In the 2014-2015 season, Rakitić went from a player to a legend, taking Xavi's place in the midfield most of the games. Xavi was already 35 years of age at this point, and together with Busquets and Iniesta, Rakitić was part of a great midfield that could fluently form the link between the Barcelona defense and an attack that consisted of Messi, Suarez and Neymar. The combination of all this led to an absolutely destructive team that won the treble in 2015. This was Rakitić's first year at the club, and they'd reached the very top, with him being an important player who scored some crucial goals, like his goal in the Champions League final against Juventus. In his second season he was just as important. For most of the season, Barcelona was the same machine that it had been previous year. They would have probably won the treble again if it wasn't for a difficult period around the month of April, where they also got eliminated in the Champions League by Atletico Madrid. Rakitić was still an outstanding player though, and by this point he was definitely among the best midfielders in the world. In his third season he was still great, but for Barcelona it was a rather disappointing season, only winning the Copa del Rey. Those first 3 seasons with the Blaugrana is when I consider him in his prime, being a midfielder who could be everywhere, form a link between defense and attack, and being dangerous with a shot from distance. In the 2017-2018 season he was still a world-class midfielder, but his impact on the team was less significant, and from this point on he started to get criticized more when things didn't go the right way. He seemed to run less, and Barcelona in general played at a slower pace, which was mostly because of Ernesto Valverde replacing Luis Enrique as a Barcelona manager. Under him, Barcelona played less fast-paced attacking football and depended more on the individual brilliance of Lionel Messi. And that's why we probably got to see less of Rakitić's qualities under him, because he was about 30 at this point, so he couldn't have declined much himself at that age already. He still made some beautiful goals here and there and put in solid performances. It's just that he seemed to have lost his young sparkling energy that he played with under Luis Enrique. Barcelona still won prizes that season and the season after because of Lionel Messi and goalkeeper ter Stegen, who was in his absolute prime during those years. During his time though, Barcelona also underwent humiliations in the Champions League. In those games, the Blaugrana were typically overwhelmed by the intensity that the other team played with, especially in midfield. They couldn't retain the ball for long and couldn't effectively provide the attack with creative passes. Rakitić was part of this midfield, and he was a shadow of his former self, which was an absolute shame to see. Being one of the older players and not performing well when you have to on the big occasion, it will almost always get you criticized by fans and the media, and this happened to Rakitić too. For some people he was one of the problems, and up to them Barcelona would be better off without him. And they might have been right, because he didn't add as much as he used to, and at this point this was both because of Valverde's system and him declining as a player. In 2020, he eventually left the Blaugrana to go back to his former club Sevilla for only 3.5 million euros. What sucks is that Barcelona could have let him go to PSG in 2018 for about 90 million euros, which would have been way better considering his best years were past him already, and that amount of money could have been huge for Barcelona if you know what kind of financial trouble they were going to be getting in. But with Bartomeu as the president, this money would have probably been spent on useless transfers and big wages. But back to the topic, Rakitić left Barcelona when he had already declined and wasn't one of the world's best midfielders anymore. On top of that, he was one of the players that didn't show up in the big games. So when he left, many were happy that Barcelona had gotten rid of him because of all this. The thing is though, I feel like a lot of fans at this point have forgotten how good of a player he was a couple of years before, that he literally used to be one of the world's best midfielders. During his prime, Barca fans definitely rated him highly, and so did a lot of neutral fans. It just seems like his less bright years at Barcelona overshadow his prime, and many have therefore forgotten how good he actually was. A lot of Barca fans and definitely neutral football fans. Even with the Croatian national team, he's always been one of the key players. But Luka Modrić has always gotten all of the praise and is seen as Croatia's biggest star for the last decade. When looking at their whole careers, I would indeed consider Modrić the better player out of the two. But I've always felt like people underestimated Rakitić's importance for the Croatian team. And when you compare them both at their peak, the difference in quality isn't that big. In 2018, they reached the final of the World Cup, with Modrić being the star player. The question is, that they would have gotten that far without even Rakitić too. After Modrić and maybe Perisic, he was their most important player, but people never gave him much attention. Overall, if you ask me to make a top 10 midfielder list of the last 10 years, Rakitić would definitely be in there. The one thing that's always made him underappreciated, I feel, is the fact that he played together with even better players like Modrić, Iniesta and Messi. But you got to understand that to play together with those kind of players in an effective manner, you have to be able to understand the game as well as them. And there's not a lot of players out there who are actually able to do so, but Rakitić is. He's also been overshadowed by his own bad performances at some points, and altogether, these things make him into an underappreciated player. Surely if you know how good he was when he was at his best, and I definitely feel like a lot of people don't rate him as highly as they should, and forget about him too much when talking about Barcelona's 2015 team or Croatia's 2018 team. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion on Ivan Rakitić in the comments down below. Força Barça and have a good day.